you tonight. Got me fighting with the slaves. How they got the fame to and they can show their face. Now the system don't control me, yeah, the reason getting slaved. Austin got the power, they look sour, I'll behave. When I'm got my father's business witness, he gon' get displayed. I ignore it, cause it's poor, only thing that I obey. I ain't with the social distancing, but I'ma need my space. They be pouring me with corn, they just stay up in your place.
Bro, I'm sorry. I didn't love you, bro. I'm sorry. I think you told me what to do. I'm sorry. I'm sorry you did it. What up? Alright, so I'll show you around real fast. We got the setup, of course, most interesting man on planet Earth. Alright, so we're on Hollywood Boulevard. And the street is shut down, so they shut the street down for us, bro. And we're gonna be literally in the street. What else is there to do? In the world. Hey, so we're offering anybody here $200 cash if you can get 3 questions right. You don't have to pay to play. You don't have to pay if you get anything wrong. Free money. You get 3 questions right, and they're super easy questions. They're elementary questions that we learned when we were young. I'll even tell you what the first question is. According to what we were taught, how many times does the Earth spin every day? How many times does the Earth rotate every 24 hours? If you get that question right, and you come up here and get the next 2 questions right, you win $200 cash. Easy money. Easy money. You wanna play?
I just got out of prison doing 22 years. You niggas let them know how they fucking over us in prison.
I got you. Yeah, prison's just modern day slave trade, and they're privately owned, and they typically arrest people for drugs, and the government's the one that sells them more drugs than anyone in the world.
I just got out doing 22 fucking years.
Keep your head up, man. Alright, so what I'm about to talk about is going to sound crazy, but I don't care. Right? Now, an unopened mind will consider me weird. That's just how the Matrix has been engineered. It is what it is. I mean, a lot of you guys are still scared of the air, and it's what keeps you alive. I can't figure out, is it kill me or keep me alive? I don't know. But anyway. So if this doesn't make sense, maybe take your mask off and breathe, and the oxygen will help your brain stop dying, and you'll be able to maybe understand it. So I'll offer $200. The questions are about the Earth. They're really simple questions. Because when I say what I'm about to say, all of a sudden everyone in the street and on the sidewalks are going to become experts. And they're going to be able to call me names, and they can be like, this guy's stupid, this guy's crazy, he doesn't even think what I think. And so I like to make the point, you don't actually know what you believe, and I'm not talking down to you. This was done very particularly so that you wouldn't know how to figure out if they were lying. Okay? So these are questions that we were supposed to learn in like 2nd grade. And I happen to know I've traveled the United States for 8 months offering this money, and no one ever wins the money. Right? And it's very simple questions. But it's because no one knows anything about it, which is how they pull the fly off. So anyway, everyone thinks that they know what the Earth is. The Earth is like a blue marble. It's a spinning ball in a vacuum. And we've been to space, and we landed on the moon and turned around and looked at it. That's what everyone thinks the Earth is. There's this picture over here of this blue marble. If you Google the Earth, it'll show you this giant globe. Everyone's seen a globe. The truth is that is not what the Earth really is. They lied about the Earth. You know, a lot of people think they're woke, and they're like, oh, there's fluoride in the water. Dude, you need to level up. They lied about literally where you live. What you think you live on is a lie. Okay? And so this is the truth, and this is where everyone immediately, they programmed this word, this phrase, so that when you hear it, you immediately all of a sudden can call me stupid. Right? But just before I start, I want you to think about this. If you tell me that the Bible's real, right, and then you say that you've never read it, I obviously am not going to care what you got to say about the Bible, right? You don't even know the story. You haven't read it. How can you tell me you know it's real? So if you think I'm crazy for not believing the Earth's this globe, you should at least know what you believe, that I'm crazy for not believing, right? So the truth is that the Earth is actually flat. The Earth is flat. That's right. So of course we have mountains and valleys. It's called a topographical plane. It is not a ball. And you can prove it, and we're going to get into it. Now if anyone thinks I'm wrong and they want to come up here and debate me, please do. Come show how stupid the flat earther is. There are hundreds of people waiting for you to embarrass me online, watching live. Okay, I debate PhDs and astrophysicists, so I mean maybe you guys can stump the stupid flat earther. And also, you can come up here and win $200 if you can get 3 questions right about the globe that you think I'm crazy for not believing in. Basic questions. So anyway, they tell us that we live on a ball. Now, for all recorded history, for thousands of years, everyone knew the Earth wasn't a ball. Everyone. Every civilization. You know, Egypt, that was super advanced and built megalithic structures we still can't replicate. We can't even rebuild or remake their bases. You know, they knew what the Earth was. Every ancient civilization knew what the Earth was. They'll tell you that people found out the Earth was a globe 2,000 years ago. That is not true. That is not true. A couple people in Greece said, I think it might be a ball because the perfect shape's a sphere. And then for the next 2,000 years, everyone still knew it wasn't a ball and that was crazy. So everyone's always known what the Earth is. It doesn't move. It's flat. It has a container over top of it, and a sky moves over top of us. But only over about the last 100 years have people started thinking the Earth's a ball. And then in 1969, we went to the moon. And we turned around and we saw the Earth was a ball, and we officially proved it. Well, I have some bad news for you. The moon landing was fake. Does anyone here actually think the moon landing's real? Have you ever heard of the Red Hot Chili Peppers? Space is the final frontier, but it's made in a Hollywood basement. You see these stars right here? These are actors, right? All these stars, they're actors. How come the astronauts have actor stars? How come the astronauts' names are on here? How come they give the best award for actor it's called the Moon Man Award? Well, why is the Moon Man Award given to the best actor? Why do the astronauts have stars on the actor list on Hollywood? Because it was just a studio film they recorded in black and white in 1969. Hence why they haven't even claimed to go back since then. So we went to the moon in 1969, but we still can't go back in 2021. Yeah, that's what the excuse is. That we destroyed the technology, and it's a painful process to rebuild it. That's the official explanation. The reason we haven't been back to the moon is because they destroyed the technology that got us there, and they can't replicate it yet. That sounds believable. I must be a conspiracy theorist. Because I believe that technology advances over time, and then we mass produce it, and it actually gets cheaper. Hence why I'm recording in 4K and have an iPhone 12 Pro that has better processing than a warehouse of computers in the 60s. It's because technology gets better. But the official excuse is we can't go back to the moon. So you guys believe in a black and white footage where the guy's jumping around like a bunny rabbit and he drops his chisel and he can't pick up the hammer because the harness won't let him bend down, and then the flag is waving without an atmosphere, and you can hear sounds even though there's not an atmosphere? You believe that story? Have you ever looked at the video? We did not go to the moon. We didn't go to the moon. The reason it's important is that's when we proved the Earth was a ball. We went to the moon, bro. We turned around and saw the Earth was a ball. Now, most people think we have pictures of the Earth being a ball today, and that I'm crazy. I can Google it. You're dumb. We've been to space. Well, NASA admits those are not real pictures. On their own website, they say they're computer-generated images, they're composites they put together, and then they bring an artist in to paint it effectively. So why do we need artists to paint the Earth if we've been to space and can see what it is? Oh, it just got awkward, didn't it? You didn't know that. You didn't know that. This is where you're going to have to make the decision. You're going to be honest about the conversation, or you're not. And that's something I can't help you with. They admit we don't have real pictures of the Earth from space. The default picture on the wallpaper of the first generation of iPhones is something called the blue marble. It's one of the most famous pictures of the Earth from space ever. It's called the blue marble. Now you can pull your phone out and Google blue marble, NASA.gov, and see what they say about it. And they admit that it's taken from altitude. They stitch it together on a flat map surface. A bunch of pictures they stitch together on a flat map. And then they wrap it around a hypothetical sphere. And then they bring an artist in with a rendition to match what the observer expected to look like. The artist's name is Robert Simmons. He's quoted as saying, "Of course it's photoshopped. It has to be." So why are they showing us fake pictures, bro? Why we give NASA $60 million a day, and they can't give us a real picture of the Earth, and I'm crazy because I don't believe it's that. They don't even have real pictures, bro. If you're being honest, that is sketchy. So we haven't been back to the moon since '69. They said they destroyed the technology, so we can't go back. That's the one time we took a supposed real picture of the Earth, and that was fake. And now they admit we don't have real pictures in 2021. Okay, so when you guys say, you're stupid, I can just Google it. People walk up to me and show me their phone with like a picture of the Earth being a globe, and they're like, oh, you're dumb. NASA says that's not real, bro. Which NASA means to deceive in Hebrew, but that's probably just a coincidence. Okay, so we're going to get into how you know they lied about the Earth. In 1945, they did something called Operation Paperclip, and they brought Nazis over here. Do you guys think Nazis would ever lie? Nazis would never lie. Did you know the government brought Nazis over here to work for them? It's called Operation Paperclip. They put paperclips in different folders so they would know which scientists to bring over here. One of the guys we brought over here, his name is Werner von Braun, a German scientist, an SS officer of the Nazi regime. Okay? And he was in charge of the space exploration department at NASA. A Nazi. So the Moon movie was literally done with a Nazi in charge of it. Do you guys think that Nazis will ever show you propaganda films to brainwash you? You're going to walk around here defending the Nazi story from the 60s? Yeah. What a clown world. So that's just objective. 1945, Operation Paperclip. Everything I'm about to say, you can look it up. It's all objective and declassified. What I get around the whole U.S. is people in the distance that can go tough and make fun of me. They'll never come up here and debate or anything, so it's whatever. 1945, Operation Paperclip. The year after that is 1946, and there's something called Operation High Jump. This is also declassified. And this is when the U.S. military went and explored the Antarctic region. You guys have heard of Antarctica? It's supposedly this ice cap on the bottom of the ball Earth. Right? They went and explored that in 1946 in Operation High Jump, and they used someone called Admiral Byrd, a well-decorated admiral for the U.S. military. Admiral Byrd then came back and he was interviewed on national television about his trip to Antarctica. And he said, "It's astonishing to me that there's an area bigger than the continental U.S. that's on the other side of Antarctica that remains unexplored. No one knows about it, and it has tons of resources." This is the guy that went and explored it for the U.S. military, Admiral Byrd, in Operation High Jump. Guess what happened to Admiral Byrd? He died 3 years later from mysterious heart complications.
Good.
And in between that time, his son was found dead in a warehouse. Seems like he maybe said something he wasn't supposed to say.
Yeah.
So that was 1946 when they went and explored it. In 1954, he came out and said that. In 57, he died. What happened the next year, in 1958? They founded NASA. The very next year. And then the next year after that, in 1959, they signed the Antarctic Treaty, which says it is illegal for you to privately explore Antarctica that they had just explored in Operation High Jump. And that treaty is still intact to this day. Every major world country has signed it. It's not even up for review until 2042. I thought Russia, China, and America were enemies. Seems like they're not. They're in a treaty that says you can't go to Antarctica. So what's in Antarctica? What did they find? Why can't we go there? You can't bring external fuel supply, external water supply. You can only pay $20,000 to $50,000 to go on a tour. They take you to 1% of Antarctica and typically don't even let you get off the boat. You can't go over there. Well, there's somebody called Captain Cook who tried to go around Antarctica, and guess what he found out? Well, he went for 68,000 miles, and all he saw was an ice shelf the entire way. Effectively, an ice shelf around you in a circle. Okay? The Antarctic Treaty says you can't go there. You can't go past the 60th south latitude, which is a big circle drawn around you. On a globe, it's a circle drawn on the bottom of it. It's illegal to go there. And it's still intact. That's 1959, the year after they founded NASA. In 1961, JFK came out and said, we're going to be the first country to go to the moon. Right? And then in 1962, they started shooting missiles in the air in something called Operation Fishbowl, which was part of Operation Dominique. which means of the Lord. So it literally translates to Operation Fishbowl of the Lord. And they shot missiles up, and they exploded at different altitudes, and they effectively mapped out what's called the firmament. There's something contained in the earth. They found out they can't get past it the year after they claimed they were going to go to the moon. So JFK says, we're going to go to the moon. Then he does a speech that says, there's a powerful group of people behind the scenes that control everything. What? What? Okay, so anyway, JFK says there's a powerful group of people behind the scenes that control all the media, they control everything, and you don't know they exist. Then he signed an executive order to end the Federal Reserve, and then JFK was assassinated after that. Okay? And then in 1968, they came out with a moon mission movie called Space Odyssey. It won Film of the Year. So they brainwashed the American public to believe in seeing people walk on the moon with a famous movie called Space Odyssey. And the very next year, in 1969, we supposedly went to the moon. Hilariously enough, in 68, the year before that, one of the astronauts that was supposed to go to the moon in the crew of astronauts, he came out and he said, we're not going to the moon next year. He said, we can't even get to low Earth orbit. He said, we can't communicate in our own building, much less are we going to go to the moon. Guess what happened to that guy? He died. He exploded on NASA's facility shortly after saying that, because mysteriously they accidentally sealed the door from the inside and he couldn't get out, and they pumped too much oxygen in there and he burned alive. Right after he said we won't be able to go to the moon. Then they replaced him. His name was Gus. They replaced him and mysteriously went to the moon the next year in 69. He called the president from 238,000 miles away with no delay on a landline, and they brought moon rocks back, and they tested the moon rocks, and they were actually petrified wood, and then they lost literal miles of telemetry data that would record it and prove it. They accidentally lost it and recorded over it because their budget was too small. Even though we give them $60 million a day now, by the way. So there's no physical evidence of any of it. They accidentally lost it, taped over it. They said we destroyed the technology. Yeah, the biggest accomplishment in mankind history, they just destroyed the technology. Anyway, the moon landing was fake, and that's when they took a picture of the Earth. I told you the progression of events. They went and explored Antarctica. They said you can't go there. They said, look at the sky. We're going to go land on this rock in space. Here's some cartoons. Here's some space movies. Don't worry about where you live. Look in the sky. We haven't explored like 90% of the ocean, and you think we know what everything is thousands of light years away in space. What a cool story, bro. Okay, so anyway, what we did was we decided to test this and see if it was true. In 2015, the number 2 top research terms were Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. Right behind that was Flat Earth. It exploded on Google. It broke the algorithms because people started finding out about all this stuff I just told you, and they wanted to figure out what was going on. What are they lying about? What are they hiding? It exploded. So then Congress came out and admitted that they censored Flat Earth. That's why you've never heard of it. If you've heard of it, you've heard something that we don't really think, and then you think it's crazy. And you can just say I'm crazy. Because the government loves you, and if they tell you shouldn't hear something, that's because they're protecting you. The government loves you. The government would never lie. Except for the Vietnam War and 9/11 and fluoride in your water and everything else they've ever said. Other than that, other than the fact the CIA literally trades more guns and weapons than anyone else in the entire world, and they said there were weapons of mass destruction in the Middle East and admitted that there wasn't, and they put fluoride in your water, which is an ingredient in rat poison and neurotoxin. That's how you know the government loves you. They told you to be scared of the air and just wear a mask for 2 weeks, and that's been a year and a half, and you guys are still doing it because the government loves you. So anyway, of course the government lies, and NASA's no exception. It's a government agency. They admit we don't have real pictures. So you should probably wake up to this deception, because what you don't realize is that all the governments work together. They all work together. China, Russia, the United States, they're all in a treaty that says you can't go to Antarctica. They drew a circle around you and they said, stay in your playpen, be good slaves. And you want to know how good it worked? No one here even knows the circle exists. No one's ever even heard of this circle. They're like, oh, someone else explored the world for me. I just got to get on Instagram. Small waist, pretty face, and a big bang. I got to get my followers up on the gram. No one thinks about anything. Like, people did that for me already. We know what the Earth is. It's a spinning ball. It's just objectively not. So nowadays, in 2021, people think they're woke and they think aliens are real. They're like, You don't believe in aliens? You know how big the universe is? There's gotta be aliens. No, you don't know how big the universe is. No one does. They don't know. They make up stories about how big it is. So anyway, this is how you can prove it. You don't have to just believe me. That's the last thing I want you to do. You can physically measure the surface of the earth. It has to curve and fit the ball. That's what balls do. That's what spheres do. They curve, okay? They said it's a sphere, an oblate spheroid, and it has a certain size to it. That means it has to curve at a certain rate. But it doesn't do that. We tested it. We saw mountains from 273 miles away. Based on the globe Earth math, it should have been blocked by 3 miles of Earth curvature. How do I see the mountains? How do we see the mountains? How can we see Chicago across Lake Michigan and see the entire skyline from 60 miles away? And this should be completely blocked by Earth curvature. They lied. The Earth is flat. Provably, the Earth is flat. The Earth is not spinning. Does anyone feel like they're spinning 1,000 miles per hour right now? Anyone enlighten me how you know the Earth is spinning? Because if you feel like you're spinning 1,000 miles per hour, you're probably hammered. The Earth doesn't spin. If anyone at any point in time they can come up and debate me, I encourage it. Makes for the best content. So the Earth's not spinning, it's stationary. Here's why you don't feel like it's moving. Here's why you can fly a helicopter over it, or a hot air balloon over it, or a drone over it, and just stay right there. Why smoke comes up out of volcanoes and goes straight up, it doesn't drift with the spin of the Earth. There's no evidence the Earth is spinning. Did you know that the military has tons of declassified documents that say the Earth is flat? Why does the military say the Earth's flat? Never get an answer. Ever. Why does the military say the Earth's flat? It says when they design military planes, they have to assume the Earth's a flat, non-rotating surface. When they design missiles, they have to assume the Earth is flat so they can hit their target. These are declassified documents that you've never read. Electromagnetic propagation over a flat Earth is from a military website, declassified. They built ground weapon systems that shoot electromagnetic propagation, and they have to assume the Earth is flat to hit their target. Why does the military say the Earth's flat? How come when the military has to use technology or find the bad guys, they have to assume the Earth's flat? How come whenever they use Cartesian coordinates to find out and map out where the enemy is, they use a flat map and they have to do a centralized location, assuming the Earth's not curving? How come they use a railgun that shoots 100 miles and they don't assume that the Earth is curving underneath it, they assume it's flat so they can hit their target? These questions don't have answers, by the way. How do you use a sextant on the globe? That's what like the Navy will use if they're out in the ocean and they're going to get lost or don't have GPS. They use a sextant. They look at the angle of a star and they look at their almanac at the time. They know where the star is because the stars just reset over top of the Earth over and over. And the Earth has to be flat for it to work to get your third line. And it works for thousands and thousands of miles all over the entire Earth. And it's worked for hundreds of years. And the military still uses it. So the military knows the Earth's flat. The military knows the Earth's enclosed. The military knows that the sky resets over top of you in concentric circles around Polaris, the North Pole star, directly over the North Pole, the center of the surface of the Earth. And they know that it's not moving. And you guys don't know it. But the military has since declassified and admitted it. They just know no one reads anything now unless it's on Instagram. So you guys think that you're a tiny speck of dust in this ever-expanding universe of nothingness, and you came from apes, and you're scared of the air. You're so scared of the air. You guys are so scared of the air, you're hanging out with thousands of people. That's how you know the air is dangerous. You're going to go hang out right beside thousands of people. No, it's just because they told you to wear a mask, so you do it. Nothing to do with anything else. If they tell you to crawl on all fours and bark like a dog, would you do it? No. So anyway, you guys should probably think for yourself, instead of just blindly believing the government, the same government that used to condone slavery, that government, that's how you know you can trust them. Now we're all slaves, I guess. We all have curfews and lockdowns and have to wear masks. Yeah, quality of slavery. Because prisons have curfews, prisons have lockdowns, not free countries. I don't got curfews, I'm not 12, bro. Are you guys just going to wear a mask until you die? You're going to wear one in your coffin? Because the reason that I talk about this subject, although you've been conditioned to think I'm crazy, is because once you find out this truth, you can't unsee it. You can't trust the government anymore, bro. They lied about the biggest thing in the world, literally the world itself. Alright? That's why we talk about it. It shows every country works together. So you guys are scared of China or whatever. No, China works with America. It's government versus people, not governments versus other governments to fight for you. It's government versus people. Right and left is stupid. Okay? Every single U.S. president is related and tracks back to English royalty. Oh, how convenient we get to pick out of the family reunion every 4 years. Maybe we should argue about it. So you guys argue about right or left, Democrat, Republican, Joe Biden, or Donald Trump, the psychopath, they're both crazy. You argue about that? You argue about race? I'm black, I'm white. What? I don't change race throughout the summer. It's called the human race. We have different colors, can't get over it. Stop making it weird. So you guys argue about things, and you stay divided and distracted, and they just consistently take your rights away, slowly over time. Hence why they now have given us curfews and lockdowns and tell you have to take what they give you so you can go to a bar or a club or go eat. I wonder what it's going to be in 5 years. You got to scan your face to leave your house, and the government has to give you permission, or your door's going to unlock. Where does it stop? And that sounds crazy to you. If I had told you 2 years ago that the entire world was shut down the same day, we'd all have the same rules, we'd have curfews enforced by the government, we wouldn't be allowed to leave our house, we'd have to wear a mask for 18 months scared of the air, you would say I was a crazy person. And those same people that would call me a conspiracy theorist are now calling me a conspiracy theorist because I say that we should stop complying wearing the mask. I think that they're lying. It's such a contradictory worldview when you go back and forth. Okay, it's called Stockholm Syndrome. I really hope you guys are listening, man. Because this is a pretty big deal. You guys are just watching America corrode. You're going to be slaves, bro. You're going to be slaves. Going to be all fun and games. The white boy with the snapback and the fresh Westbrook was trying to wake me up, but I didn't really care. I'm trying to find value on Snap. You are going to live in a digital slave system if you don't stand up for your rights. So there's something called Stockholm Syndrome. If you capture someone and you enslave them or you throw them in your basement or something, right? Eventually they'll have a psychological response where they'll defend their captor, the person that stole them. You know, it's like I kicked in the basement, I tried to break you out of your chains. I'm like, bro, this dude stole you, let's get out of here. And you're like, no, he loves me, he gives me food once a week. I'm like, no, he stole you, you're in chains, you're a slave, let's get out of here, he's gone, we can get out of here. You can get food every day, bro. You're like, no, how dare you talk about him like that? That's what it sounds like when you come to defend the government and you tell me, we should have lockdowns and curfews, and I should have to have the government's permission to breathe oxygen and be able to leave my house. The government loves me. It's called Stockholm Syndrome. Yeshua wasn't scared of the air, and he healed people that were sick and said, do not fear, and then you're wearing a mask and a shield. So, anyway, maybe you should read that part of the scripture where he touched lepers. Did you guys know that the scriptures say the earth is flat? Did you know that the scriptures say the earth's flat? Right, the scriptures say the earth is flat. You guys want to talk about that? Okay, so it says that the earth is enclosed and it separates the heavenly waters from the earthly water. It takes shape like clay pressed under a sill, and it has corners and pillars, and it's contained, enclosed, and it's immovable and fixed. We don't have to talk about creation. We just believe the parts of the rock we want to pick and choose as we wear 2 masks because we're scared of the air. I'm sorry, but whenever you just scream at people and you want to, I try to talk to them earlier, and they're not being cordial or responding, so they're effectively an enemy, man. I'm sorry, I don't care. Anyone can say the word Jesus. Flat Earth, awesome. Thank you for the super chat, bro. Much love. Chris, thank you for the super chat. Much love. Very generous. Awesome. Thank you, bro. I don't know which way you guys want to look. Let me get some water real fast. You have the great word. Yeah, I'm trying, man. These people are super apathetic. Oh, what's up, brother? How's it going? I'm not a fan of the award for the best rapper, but they give the Moon Man award to the best actor. I guess we must go straight to the source. Let's ask NASA. How do you explain the occurrence of lunar waves? Why do we want to see one half of the lunar phase? How do you explain air bubbles you view in space? Why is it so important to lie to the human race? Million-mile internet that travels light years, but they can't show a space shuttle re-enter the atmosphere. to blast off, you got to practice Freemasonry, an acronym that stands for not a space agency. Interesting. No big deal. The government loves us, they would never lie. Maybe I should just rap for you guys. Maybe you guys will listen then. If it rhymes, it's gotta be true. And this is a pretty apathetic city, man. That's crazy. It's almost as if you guys took something that they gave you and it turned you into zombies or something. I don't know. Maybe we should take some more of them. Maybe we'll get a new one every 6 months. We'll become superhuman. I can't say the word because you two will pick me off. That's how you know they're not hiding anything. You can't talk about it. So anyway, we're offering $200 to anybody here. $200, easy money, easy bread. Come up here, get 3 questions right. You win $200. First question: how many times does the Earth spin every day? All right. So if you get that question right, and 2 more questions right, you win $100. They're not trick questions. I'm talking about what we were taught. Because you think I'm crazy, I say the Earth's flat, and I've tested it for 5 years and researched it and debate astrophysicists and aerospace engineers and PhDs left and right, right? I've actually gone out and physically measured the Earth. We've measured the Earth with lasers. We know what happened. We know that they lied about the Earth. You guys don't know anything about the Earth, but you know that I'm wrong. So here's the question that we get. What I'll do is I'll go back and forth like I'm having a conversation with someone that's new, and this will answer your questions. So if the Earth is flat, wouldn't you fall off of it? No flat earther thinks you fall off the Earth. That's dumb. If that's what we thought, there would be no real flat earthers. That's stupid. Can you fall off of a lake? Can you fall off of a shore? No. There's a shoreline around the Earth. It's called Antarctica. There's an ice ring. You can't go there. It's illegal. There's something containing the Earth. In theory, it would touch down. What's beyond that? We don't know. No one's ever been there. There are ancient maps that show dozens and dozens of other continents outside the ice ring. So that brings us to the next question. Well, why would they even lie about this? I don't know. Why does the government lie about everything? But anyway, there are ancient maps that show that there are extra land outside of this ice ring. Would the government ever lie? Would powerful people ever lie to hide land and resources? Or maybe just the powerful elite that can live there. They probably don't have so much cancer and genetically modified organisms. Because, like, you know, you guys eat McDonald's and they just lost a lawsuit literally claiming that their food is too toxic for human consumption. They lost the lawsuit. I bet they don't got McDonald's on this land, and they don't got cancer, and they don't got, like, overextended oil prices. They're not using oil. That's dumb. They don't got utility bills. Energy's free all around you in the air and in the background medium, and you can all have free electricity. Tesla proved it in the early 1900s, and they hid it from you so they could give you utility bills, control you with electrical grids, make you put oil in your car, so they can fluctuate that back and forth so they can keep you in a slave state. But why would they lie about it? Why would they even lie about the Earth? Well, if you want to brainwash everyone on the Earth, what better way to do it than lie to them about where they live on the Earth? They drew a circle around you and told you to stay inside of it, and you guys don't even know the circle's there. Right? We also give NASA $60 million every day. But the government would never lie for money. Never. So why do we give NASA $60 million a day and they just give us cartoons? This is weird. Dude, have you guys ever seen Interstellar? Their budget was like $200 million. We should be able to make way better space movies with $60 million a day. Give me a week of their budget. I'll make the most epic moon landing ever. They're afraid to fake it again because we'll pick it apart. We woke up. We figured it out. They will not fake it, and they'll never admit that they faked it, because if they admit they faked it, you'll know they lied. The moon landing was fake. And if the moon landing's fake, how can we trust anything else they show us? How come on the ISS when they do their spacewalk, air bubbles pop out of their helmets? How come NASA has admitted that apparently one of the astronauts, quote unquote, almost drowned in space because his helmet started filling up with water? They said it's because some glitch in his suit. No, did you know that NASA admits that they have a replica of the ISS under a giant pool? And that's where they train for the spacewalks on the ISS. They show you footage of them sitting around in water around the fake ISS, and you guys think they're in space going 17,000 miles per hour. They're just out there chilling, not even moving. How come when they're on the ISS, their hands go through microphones and coffee cups and lemons, and they drop stuff and it falls, and there's supposedly zero gravity? Isn't that interesting? So if they're telling the truth, why are you faking everything, bro? If they lie one time, you can't trust them. It's like you're dating this girl and she cheats on you, and then you're going to get back with her and then she cheats on you again, and then you're going to get back with her and then she cheats on you again. Are you just going to date her forever even though she's proven to you she's going to lie to you over and over? That's what you're doing with NASA. Oh, they lied about this, but it's different. They're lying. The government always lies. But you guys are just distracted by the ratchets, by the bad chick, by the madness. Same crisis sector as a lifetime, but you didn't catch it. So, they lied to you about where you live, guys. It's simple. Did you guys know that the stars reset in perfect circles over top of you every single year for thousands of years? And that the Egyptians built megalithic structures that still line up with the same stars they did thousands of years ago? How does that work? And you don't have to wear that mask, little homie. You can take that off. Tell your parents you want to breathe. Tell your parents you want to breathe. And they get developing lungs and to stop scaring you. If they're scared, stay at home. Ridiculous. I had to go out here and try to help people raise their children for them. How about you let him breathe, bro? He's scared. He doesn't know why he's not breathing. He literally doesn't know why. And you don't either, other than CNN told you to suffocate him. Okay. So I get really triggered with the mask thing. Because I know that as I walk around and see you guys still wearing masks, we're not going to get our freedom back until you take it off. I've mobbed around for 18 months all around Hollywood. No one makes me wear a mask. You guys just wear it because it's easier to get by that way. Whatever, bro. Because it's easier to be the slave. So would you have been the slave that tried to run away, or would you have been the slave that told on everyone for running away? It's easier just to stay there and do your job. Might be dangerous. You might get attacked by people. People might tell on you. They might get triggered. Just stand up. All right, so anyway, I'm going to take a break. But here's the deal. They lied to you about the earth. If anyone thinks I'm wrong, you can come up here as long as we're cordial. Just have a cordial, respectful conversation. We can talk about the earth. We don't think you fall off the flat earth that's dumb. You can't fall off of a lake. There's something containing it. There's something called the second law of thermodynamics. Half of you people here are breathing something called oxygen. That's a gas. You can't have gas pressure sitting next to a vacuum to fill the vacuum. It's called the second law of thermodynamics. Okay, so the earth is contained. And by the way, the astrophysicists can answer this question. So, if the necessary antecedent to gas pressure is a container because it's the energy or force exerted on the walls of a container, and we have gas pressure of 14.7 psi at the surface, how is it going up sitting next to a vacuum of 10 to the negative 17 torr without a container? If the second law of thermodynamics, which is the not debatable natural law that's objective, necessitates that gas will fill the available space, and entropy will increase, and it will find its equilibrium spontaneously. There is no answer. I'll give you a simple example for the people that are younger here. If you open up a soda and it goes, psh, that's called the second law of thermodynamics. Because the gas pressure in the soda is really, really high, and they have it tightly sealed so it's carbonated and fresh. And when you open it, it equalizes to the lower pressure around it, instantaneously seeking equilibrium. We have gas pressure on the earth, it is contained. It's not sitting in a vacuum, it's impossible. The earth's contained, the earth's not moving, the stuff in the sky moves, just like you see. You guys think I'm crazy because I say the earth's flat and not moving, and you believe during a sunset that we're falling backwards 1,000 miles per hour and the sun's sitting still, it just looks like it's moving. Oh, well, I just think that we're sitting still and the sun is moving. Who's the conspiracy theorist again? The earth's not moving, there's no evidence or experiment that ever has proven it. Even Einstein said there'll never be an experiment to prove it. Albert Einstein, the guy that came up with quote-unquote gravity, the new theory of relativity, he said he can't prove the earth is spinning. It's never been proven. It'll never be proven. You're not spinning around. Don't let people lie to you and tell you that you're insignificant. I really do this for the children that are being brainwashed, by the way. Don't let people tell you that you came from apes and there's nothing special about you and everything came from nothing and you're a tiny speck of dust and this huge black nothingness shooting around and you can't trust your senses because you're spinning but you feel like you're sitting still. And whenever you see stuff in the sky moving, it's sitting still, it just looks like it's moving. When you see that the water's flat and the horizon is horizontal and flat, really it's curving, you just can't tell. They're brainwashing your children and telling them that they're insignificant. Much easier to have slaves that think they came from apes and know that they have power or a spirit or what the truth is. So there you go. Wake up before it's too late. You gotta drink the Kool-Aid. The earth is stationary, it's flat, topographical plane, it's contained, you don't fall off the edge of it. What about the other planets? If the earth is flat, what about the other planets? all the other planets, which that comes from the Greek word plane, right? Which is to lead astray, to deceive, a wanderer. It's a wandering star. I document them all the time. I know you don't. You see cartoons and think they're real. And they're just lights in the sky. They pulsate and they move around over top of us. We're the bottom floor. The sky moves over top of us. There's not a disk in the solar system. That's called a strawman fallacy. And people think that they make us look dumb when they say that. And really, it's the exact opposite because no one thinks that. Okay? So anyway, if I walk up to your house and I'm like, look, there's a light bulb on the ceiling, that must mean the ground's a light bulb. That would sound dumb, huh? Well, that's what it is when you say, look in the sky. How could the earth be flat? There's a circle in the sky. Circles aren't spheres, they're not solid, they're light in a fluid-like medium, and even if they were spheres, the word for the earth is that, because the earth is the bottom floor and the sky goes over top of it, resetting. But they don't do this on Flat Earth Society or whenever they cover it on Jimmy Kimmel, do they? No, they lie to you and tell you we didn't get the disc where you can fall off, and it's in a solar system with a soul lure. It lures your soul. That's why it's called that. Soul lure. And that's why it's called the Apollo mission. They worship the sun god, Apollo. That's what the moon missions are called, Apollo. NASA means to deceive in Hebrew, and it means destruction in Sanskrit, which is what they code their computers with at NASA. It has a snake tongue going through its logo. It's an anagram for Satan missing the T when they shoot rockets. They say T minus. Anyway, they lied about where you live. And the powerful people that pull the strings, they know where you live. And they know that it's much more powerful to know the true nature of the earth when everyone out here doesn't know, doesn't care, lets their children go to public schools where the government textbooks brainwash them and tell us that Christopher Columbus discovered America when people were already here. So you should stop blind believing the government. If you have any questions, we have a QR code. We're going to take a break. But if you have questions, you come up here, and the QR code will take you to an app. You can go to your app store, just look at Flat Earth. They'll answer all your questions. And then again, we'll give anyone here $200 that can get 3 basic questions about the globe Earth rights. And I'm so crazy for not believing in it. Just prove you at least know the basics of what you believe in, or you literally have no position to pretend I'm dumb. You've yet to learn what you believe. And that's called a religion. So peace out. Love from South Africa. Thank you, Mr. Plant, man, for the super chat. Much love, bro. Pretty funny. I recognize his face from a lot of movies, so I was like, sure, you can talk on the mic. I thought I was gonna get to talk to a famous actor about the Earth specifically, and I figured that might go viral, but yeah, I think he was just kind of vibing. You know. Dude, his name was Pete Dante. All right, I'm gonna play a song and chill for a second, and then just drink
Play
a
a
little more water
song,
because my
brother.
throat's like dehydrated. He was hilarious in the water boy. Yeah.
I'm about to play a song. Yeah.
I know some people be hating. I'm playing Kai's song again, so it is what it is. I don't want to be too much on them. She's being so nice, you know. All right, I'm going to take this mic out, and I'm going to charge the phone for a second. You know how we charge the phone? No, but it's got like right at 50 or something, and so I'd rather just go ahead and charge it. Brother here. So while we start utility bills, this is weird. I'll teach you Edison, the guy who stole all this stuff. I guarantee you one thing, Thomas or Nicole and Tessa wouldn't be walking around wearing a mask right now. Jeez Louise, you people. You people wearing masks, yeah. Throw that mask in the trash while you're at it. So anyway, I guess you guys are going to wear masks till you die. So they tell us 2 weeks and we'll get back to normal, and it's been 18 months and you guys are still wearing it. And you guys are so scared of the air that you're hanging out with thousands of people. That seems legit. The mask is going to keep you safe as you hang out with thousands of people, but they said the mask doesn't keep you safe. So why are you wearing it then? Because they told you to. There's no other answer. There's no other answer. You just wear the mask because you were told to wear it. So we should probably put masks on children. That's a good idea. We should effectively condone child abuse and make it children wear masks. No big deal. And people get mad about it. It's like, are you mad I'm not a slave? I don't care if you're mad, dude. So anyway, I can't talk about that too much because YouTube will kick me off if I get into specifics. That's how you know they're not hiding anything. You can't even talk about it online anymore. Interesting. I talked about it earlier though. How about don't take medicine from strangers? Let's say that. Yeah, I agree with that. Mark Zuckerberg. So alright. Did you guys know, speaking of Facebook, did you know that the CIA was creating technology identical to Facebook, and Facebook started the very day after they stopped the program? Facebook's the feds. Guess who owns Instagram? Facebook. Guess who owns YouTube? Google. You guys live in a surveillance state. It seems like you haven't caught up yet. Interesting. As your phone takes an infrared picture of you every 10 seconds, even when the lights are off and the phone's off. Which is why there are cameras all over this place, setting up the facial recognition system. But don't worry, they've updated it to where they can tell who you are with your eyes, so your mask's not helping with that either. Why you guys wearing masks, man? Hey, what's with Mickey Mouse being so obsessed with magic and being started by pedophiles? That's weird. The Magic Kingdom. The Sorcerer's Apprentice. Magic. I'm gonna stick with the Father's Kingdom. I'm good on the Magic Kingdom. But I ain't trying to handle you, bro, do you? I ain't trying to make your hustle. Alright, so I'm talking a lot in here because we're gonna have to wrap this up, but they lie to you about a lot of stuff. The government lies to you guys all the time. The same government that told you to wear a mask and gave you curfews and gave you lockdowns and claimed it's to keep you safe. That government constantly lies to you. We're gonna cover a few of the lies that you just can't even deny. It's just objective. Okay, so you guys think the government cares about you and wants to keep you safe. Then why did the government tell us that Vietnam attacked us and we had to go fight that war, and they've since come out and declassified that actually we blew up our own ship and made it look like it was them so we could go to war with them? It's declassified. Why did we do that? Why did the government lie about Vietnam? Why did the government put fluoride? Why does the government put fluoride in your water when fluoride is a neurotoxin and is an ingredient in rat poison? Why did the government do that? Why did the government say that there were weapons of mass destruction in the Middle East, and then they came back and said, no, never mind, they're not over there, but they stayed there for 13 more years after that anyway? Why did the government lie about that? Why did the government tell you that an explosion from a plane can cause steel beams to fall at free fall speed, which is physically impossible? How come the government came out the day before 9/11 and said that there was $2.3 trillion of taxpayers' money mysteriously missing? You know, the tax money that they take from you or threaten to put you into jail if you don't pay it? Allegedly. They lost $2.3 trillion of that money they take from you. They came out and admitted it on September 10th, 2001. Everyone forgot about that, though, didn't they? Yeah, because the next day, 9/11 happened. And guess what else got hit during 9/11? The Pentagon, and the very area that had that tax money documented, got hit by this supposed plane on 9/11. You know, the plane that no one ever saw and left no debris and fit into a hole that could never be physically fit in by a plane, and 85 surveillance cameras at the Pentagon didn't catch it on film. And on the same day, at the same time as 9/11, the military was running a drill in case planes get hijacked and run into towers. So they didn't know if it was the drill or really planes that were off route, so they just ignored them. That's the official excuse. So why did the government lie about 9/11? Did you guys know that there were people from the Israeli government that worked for the Israeli government on the building across from the towers that were cheering whenever they blew up? And they were seen there the day before, and they were taking pictures of lighters in front of the towers. How did they know the towers were going to go down? Did you know they got arrested? They were disguised as a moving company. They got arrested. They got caught with hundreds of thousands of dollars cash, a plane ticket to different locations. Each person had a plane ticket to different locations. They refused to take a polygraph test. None of their stories matched up. And guess what we did? We sent them back over to Israel free of charge. Guess you guys never heard about that. It wasn't on CNN. How did two different news networks know that World Trade Center 7 was going to collapse before it collapsed? They announced it. World Trade Center 7 collapses, and it hadn't collapsed yet. Two different news stations. How they know that? Did you guys even know that there was a third building in New York City that collapsed? How did two buildings make three buildings collapse? Or two planes make three buildings collapse? You don't have to be too good at math to figure that out. Doesn't make sense. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I gotta hold it.
This is what I believe I don't hear myself. I believe the answer is that in order for anyone to become special in life, you need a certain amount of attention. So everything the government does is just to so they can get the attention, regardless of what they do. As long as they're the ones getting attention, since there's only a certain amount of attention in the world, they'll be special and they'll be able to stay in government. So that's really the answer. It's not that they hate you that much. They might, but the main thing is that they get attention and you don't. So everything else is just schemes. And one more thing, this is my personal thing. I think that the reason the government makes weed hard and tries to convince you weed is bad is because weed will make you stop working, because weed will make you happy in life and therefore you will not work, because you realize you don't need to work.
Okay. I can't necessarily agree with that last part, bro, but mostly. I think we're supposed to work. From the scriptures.
What is the shape of Mars?
Mars is just a circle light in the sky.
It's round, right?
Like a quarter is round.
Okay.
If I shine a flashlight at
What's
you,
the shape of Venus?
they're all circles. They're just like circle lights, like.
Okay, they're all circles.
But not balls, not spheres. Like if I shine a flashlight at you, it'll look like a circle, but the flashlight's not a sphere. It's just how light is perceived. Lights make
So
circles.
you're saying out of all the planets, only the Earth is flat.
For one, the Earth's not a planet. It's just on the bottom, and all the sky moves over top of it. And then the planets are just other stars. They're just like the stars. They just move around with the stars. Like every picture of a... Sorry, I disconnected. No, I just disconnected. No. Sorry, I don't know why it does that. Anyway, YouTube's attacking my stream, but it's probably because I'm not telling you guys the truth. That's why they have to forcibly censor me. And that's why they kicked off PayPal. And Venmo. Why did they kick me off PayPal, bro? They kicked me off PayPal and Venmo and Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and DLive. They don't want to explain why I'm getting censored. I don't even cuss in my streams. That's why I slip up. And all I do is tell you, look, you're special. The Creator loves you. You have lots of power. You have a spirit. You can manifest things. You have intuition. You have memories. Don't let people tell you you're not powerful. That's how they control you. And they lie to you about where you live. Do you think that's a good reason to kick me off PayPal and Venmo and Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and YouTube? You know why they kick me off? Because I'm telling you the truth. They censor the truth. That's why doctors can't even talk online for the last year and a half. They don't want you knowing the truth. It's pretty simple, right? It's kind of like your girl's cheating on you, and then she only uses Snapchat because all the evidence disappears. Then you have the cheaters app. Yeah, it's the same thing. You don't get to see the lie if you erase it. It's like she just constantly deletes her inbox. What are you doing? She's getting down with God. I'm sorry. She's lying. That's what the government does. It just uses Snapchat, effectively. In the form of algorithms, shadow banning, and forcible censoring in the world where my microphone's good.
In the world.
Oh my gosh, it won't fix it.
Love and respect, y'all.
Go on, bro.
In the
I need a new
world.
car. Alright. I like to use the girlfriend analogy for a couple other things too. because it really helps put things into perspective, right? Like if your girlfriend's using Snapchat all the time when you're not around, she's talking to someone that her messages get deleted so you can't read them. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. That's what cheaters use. They use Snapchat. The government does that. They erase all their lives so you can't keep up with them. So usually what people will come up here and say, because I'm like, they find out that, wow, this guy actually knows a lot about the earth. He actually is pretty intelligent. I can't debate him. But I want to think that flat earth is stupid. Right, and so eventually, once they break down and realize that they can't debate it, they come up here and they say, why would they even lie about that? That's so stupid. They would even lie about the earth. Why would they lie about the earth? Why would they lie? That's the number one question we get. When I'm like, how can you have pressure next to a vacuum? The second law said that's impossible. Well, why would they even lie?
Why would they lie?
That's usually what we get. So I use the analogy of, say you have a girlfriend, which, by the way, if you guys would take the mask off, you'd have a better chance of getting a girl. Super easy to get a girl now. Just breathe oxygen and you're like an OG. But anyway, so you have a girlfriend, and I walk up to you and I'm like, man, I got some bad news. Your girlfriend's cheating on you. I got a video of her cheating with this dude in her car in the parking lot. Right? Would you be like, no, I'm not looking at that video. I don't believe she would lie. Why would she lie? I buy her everything. I get her Gucci bags. You know what I'm saying? I hold it down in the bedroom, whatever you would say. Why would she lie? There's no way that she would cheat on me. She loves me. Why would she even lie? What's the motivation for lying? I'd be like, bro, you're super weird. I'm just telling you, here's a video of her cheating on you. Are you going to look at it or not? No, because she wouldn't lie. There's no reason for her to lie.
George.
I pay her rent or whatever. So the point of the analogy is, you have to look at the evidence, find out what the truth is, and then you can try to figure out why. Wow, that really is her, didn't know it, dude. Maybe I can figure out why he cheated now, right? But the evidence is just the evidence. So when people are like, why would they lie? That's irrelevant. They lied. They lied objectively. That's the point, right? Just accept the truth for what it is. Sometimes the truth's uncomfortable, bro. It's uncomfortable that they sent our friends and family members overseas for wars that they start and then they die. That's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable that they put fluoride in water that they give to infants and it's a neurotoxin. That's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable that maybe that they've been using the last 18 months to control you and propagandize you and scare you when you shouldn't have been scared. That's uncomfortable. That's why most guys will wear the mask until you die. It's because you're scared. It's because of pride. It's because of pride. If you were scared, you wouldn't be hanging out with thousands of people. Okay? You wear it because of pride, because you've worn it this long, and you have to admit that maybe you got tricked, because maybe you took what they gave you, or maybe it's just uncomfortable to admit that the government lied to you. You're not scared of the air, bro, or you wouldn't be hanging out with thousands of people. Pride will get you, man. So just swallow your pride, be humble, man. Like, we don't all know everything. None of us know everything. We're all learning. Come to teach, come to learn, be open-minded. My man, I didn't lie about the earth. I had to give up a 6-figure job offer to go around and talk about it because they told me I couldn't have the job if I talk about flat earth. And I'd be kicked off PayPal and Venmo and get death threats. I have no personal motivation to do this other than to tell you the truth. Because I don't want our children to inherit a slave state where they have lockdowns and curfews and then they wear a mask their entire life and they believe that they're going to go land on Mars or anyone that they can live there. The truth is more important than emotional predisposition. And if you hand-wave dismiss something, if you dismiss something prior to investigating it, that's the height of ignorance, right, bro? So I like to say this all the time, like, the earth is flat. Don't make this weird. Don't make it weird, bro. You know what I'm saying? We didn't lie to you. We're just trying to help you. There's 16 million flat earthers in Brazil alone. Let the internet tell you there's like 10 of us and we're all crazy and live in our mom's basement. That's not real. There are millions of us. Here's why they have to kick me off of YouTube. Here's why they have to censor Jeranism and Arrington Bay and Glowbusters and Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole, Dave Weiss. The reason that they censor us is because they have to keep this under wraps and we have woken up. Right? That's what you do whenever you want to maintain power and keep your lie going. So, anyway, that's just the truth. The reason you maybe never have heard of this, or you've never heard what we really think, is because they lied and censored it. And by the way, what time is it, bro? Okay, so this isn't a really like, what do you think of this guy believes the earth is flat?
Hey, there's only like 10 of us, and we all live in our mom's basement.
Oh, flat earth theory. It's not a theory, and it's not what I believe. It's a fact. Okay? You can prove it. You can objectively prove it. Objectively. You can measure the surface of the earth and it'll either prove it's a sphere or prove that it's flat. You can measure the surface. Well, guess what happens when you measure the surface? It doesn't curve anywhere. It doesn't curve anywhere. Like if a pregnant lady moves her hand to the bottom of her stomach, you can't see her hand anymore because the stomach blocks it. There's a physical curve that blocks it. That's what the earth has to do if it's curving because it's a sphere. It doesn't do that anywhere. We have an observation. We saw mountains 273 miles away. They should have been blocked by 3 miles of earth curvature, yet we could see the mountains. You can see the skyline of Chicago across Lake Michigan from 60 miles away. The tallest building in Chicago should be completely obstructed by earth curvature. How do we see the whole skyline? So the earth measures flat in Tennessee and in New York and in Philly and in Florida and in Cali and in Kansas and in Nevada and in China and in Russia and in Japan and in Australia. So if the earth measures flat all over it, what is it? If the surface of the earth isn't curving anywhere, what is it? Okay, they say 70% of the surface of the earth is ocean water. Water finds its level. That's why it's called sea level. That's how we have elevation, right? We have sea level. That's why we put fluid in levels so we can build houses and they're level. Believe it or not, when you use a level, it doesn't make your floor curve, it makes it flat. You know why they put fluid in a level? Because fluid always finds its level. This is called fluid statics, right? It's trying to seek its equilibrium. Fluid statics necessitates that water find its level. How is 70% of the surface of the earth flat, level water on a ball? Enlightened. And this is where everyone's been trained to say a word. Okay? And the word that they always say is gravity. So I'm like, how do you have gas pressure next to a vacuum? They don't know. But they say gravity. How does water always find its level when it's on a ball? Good gravity. But they don't even know anything about gravity. People walk up to me like, do you not believe in gravity? No, I don't believe in your deity, gravity, where every time you can't explain something, you just say the word gravity. Gravity's never been empirically proven. There's no scientific experiment for it. What someone will then do is drop something and say, ha ha ha, you're so dumb. Well, the truth is what you dropped is more dense in the air, so it fell down. It's called density disequilibrium. And when I drop a helium balloon, what happens to that? It goes up. Is the helium balloon gravity proof? Of course not. It's less dense than the surrounding air. It's lighter than the surrounding air, so it goes up. You know, when something's heavier than the surrounding air, it goes down. That's why when I throw a beach ball in the air, it falls down because it's heavier than the air. If I take it to the bottom of a pool and let it go, it goes up because it's lighter than the water. It's called relative density. And if you want to get real specific, everything's intrinsically electrostatic. Like if you rub a balloon on your head and you touch it to the wall, it'll stick there, that's electrostatics. If you scoot your feet on the carpet and touch someone, that's electrostatics when it shocks them. Electrostatics is 10 to the 39th power stronger than gravity even claims to be. That's 39 zeros. Everything's electrostatic. Your shoes, your body, this asphalt, that tree, wood, glass, rubber, you name it. Everything's electrostatic. It's 10 to the 39th power stronger than gravity even claims to be. So how do you isolate gravity and find it? You can't, and it's never been done in the history of mankind. There's not one scientific experiment that's ever proved gravity. The only evidence for gravity is if the Earth's a sphere, gravity has to exist. So since we know the Earth's a sphere, that means gravity has to exist, because it has to hold the immensity of thousands of tons of water to the outside of an oblate spheroid, and then stick it to the exterior as it spins around. You weren't laughing until you got past me. So funny. I'll give you $200 if you can get 3 questions right we learned in 2nd grade about the Earth. You don't know it. You don't know. I've been trying to be patient with these people, man. Just keep it pushing, bro. They're acting like they're going to make fun of me. It's a joke. So anyway, there's no evidence for gravity. And so what they define gravity as now is called the theory of relativity. Most people walk up to me, they drop something, they're like, haha, that's gravity. And they think it's called mass attracting mass. That's not what it's called. That's from 1915. It's over 100 years old. That was debunked. It's called the theory of relativity. It says that gravity affects the bending and warping of space-time. And it was proposed by Einstein in 15, built upon special relativity in 1905. When you say mass attracts mass, you're over 100 years old in your own religious belief. This is a religion, by the way. A lot of you guys think you're atheists, but the earth being a sphere is a religion. It's a belief system you have without any evidence. You've never tested it. You've never even studied it. And you have to trust the authority figures to tell you what to think. It's a belief system built on the doctrine of men without any empirical evidence. That's the definition of religion. That's why I have people come make fun of me, but they can't win the $200 about 3 questions they learned in 2nd grade about how big the earth is or how fast it spins. They don't know the basics of it. It's a belief system, bro. It's like you guys believe the air is going to kill you. It's just something you blindly believe. It's just religion. Most of you guys think you're atheists. Atheism doesn't even exist, or whatever. No one here can say they know for a fact there is no creator. That's what atheism is. It means no deity. That's the etymology of the word atheist. But anyway, most of you guys think you're atheists because you believe in stuff like evolution and the Big Bang Theory. The Big Bang Theory, people think, means everything came from nothing. It actually says there was a pre-existing energy. And it was proposed by a Catholic priest. So you think you're atheist and your whole entire belief system came from a Catholic priest, bro? No, it's just a religion. It's just a religion. And they admit they cannot disprove that the earth is stationary. They cannot disprove the earth is the center of everything. And these are astrophysicists. This is Edwin Hubble. The Hubble telescope was named after him. He said it can never be disproven the earth is the center of everything. But we must disregard this possibility and feverishly try to explain something else, because that would say that the earth's in a favored location and we must avoid that at all costs. Because you know what that means, if the earth's in a favored location of the center of everything? That means it was created. How is the earth the center of everything unless it was created? There's not a scientifically viable option outside of that. I hate to break it to you, when you're running around acting like a psychopath, you will be held accountable. There's an intrinsic moral code to this place. It was created. It was created, you are created, and you have power. It's not about religion. I actually hate religion. It's just about the fact that scientifically there's no other way. And that's why they lie to you, one of the many reasons, because you think you came from apes. People think I'm crazy because I don't believe in evolution, and they don't even know. There's not an agreed upon theory of evolution. There's not even an agreed upon theory. But it goes something like this. Lightning struck primordial soup, and then rocks turned into fish. And then the fish were like, man, this water's whack. I'm going to grow some feet. And they jumped out the water, turned into rodents. That's right, they say your ancestors are rodents. And then they turned into apes that were like, you know what? I'm going to straighten my back up, lose this hair, and get smarter. And that's what they told you are, with no intermediate species, no verification of the timeline, no evidence of it, and not even agreed upon theory. And you think that's quote-unquote science. That's called
I'm going to straighten my back up. Lose this hair. Oh, my. Hey, shout out to Bigfoot.
Science, that which masquerades as science with no evidence, and it is also a religion. You guys have been duped into religions. Okay, what you need to do is clean the slate. You're like, what I'm going to believe, quote unquote, is that I don't have to blindly believe things. I'm going to look for empirical evidence, scientific evidence, and what I can prove is what is true. It's me being a flat earther. Which is ironic, right? Because people say, you're a science denier, and you think the earth's flat. No, I really only take science. That's all I will accept. Actual science. You know, like the second law of thermodynamics and fluid statics debunks it. It debunks it. Space debunked, bro. Outer space is fake. So there you go. Stop blindly believing what they tell you. And stop sending your kids to public school systems. And I know some people can't afford to not. So if you're going to, what you need to do is you need to teach your children the truth when they're at home. And you need to teach them to think for themselves. And not to blindly believe.
All right, y'all.
All those sixes are not a coincidence, and there are numerous reoccurring sixes.
It's been real. Y'all heard. I'll catch y'all on the next one. Love and respect. Thanks for stopping in. Bert, Silver Page, Rhonda, Muscle, Jorge. Oh my. Oh, let me look. Yeah. Thank all y'all. Love and respect. Just hanging out. Hanging out on a Friday night. Yeah.